What's your guys' favorite series right now? I guess maybe top 3. There's so many.
There's way too many
for
me to be like, all right, these are my favorite.
Yeah.
I mean, if you want to throw it in there, Tiger King.
That was
amazing, gripping.
Yeah, that was like that was peak pandemic too.
I don't know if that's the one you want to describe as gripping.
Oh, listen.
Exit stage left.
Rawr.
All right, welcome back to another episode of What We Watching. Kind of didn't do this in the first episode, but we will be reviewing movies on this podcast.
We are a movie podcast. Thank you.
Everything film, really. So it could be movie, series, like TV series, anything that could be streamed, anything you can watch, visual arts.
Not porn.
Not
no
that.
Pornography.
Thank you for clarifying that.
You said anything.
You said anything. That's true. That's true. No, we don't.
Not anything.
I mean, does that need to be reviewed?
Almost
let's be
everything
honest.
related to film. So even award shows, we'll give our something happens, we'll give our take if you guys want it, and if you guys don't want it, we'll still give our take. But yeah, kind of just all encompassing, film, movie, whatever, podcast, all the above. And you good?
My mic all weird last time. I had it kind of like over here, kind of. I don't know what I was doing.
Yeah.
Hi guys.
You comfortable?
Yeah.
You chilling?
Yeah, right?
Yeah, I'm good. Let's do this.
I've never seen anyone lose a fight to a microphone, but
It's whooping my ass over here. I'm like, yeah.
Kind of wanted to ask you guys whether I feel like I know the answers, but do you guys prefer movies or series, if you can choose, and why?
so that's tough. I think it depends. I
you
lean more towards movies.
Yeah, and you said documentaries too, and
Yeah.
the documentaries run the gamut. There's series documentaries, and then there's like 2-hour documentaries.
Yeah. So I think I lean more towards movies because I like a beginning, middle, and an end.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes with some series, like it almost feels like it's never gonna end. Like some series when you watch them, you can tell like, okay, this whole first season was about getting towards this moment, and they ended us on a cliffhanger, so we don't know where it's going to end. And then the next season they come back and they write something that shifts us in a completely different direction. And now this whole second season is about something completely different. Right. So it never gets us to that point. And so after a few seasons of that, it's kind of like, all right, this is never ending. Like, there's no telling what the next season is going to be about. We could be watching this forever and a day.
Right.
So with movies, I kind of know that there's going to be an ending. There's going to be a beginning, middle, and an end at the end of all of these shows. And that's also why I like sitcoms too. Like sitcoms, there's beginning, middle, and an end. And you don't have to watch them in a specific order to get what's going on.
Dang.
This is your first time on a podcast?
This is my first time.
On episode 2.
I'm cheating. I'm on a different one. Gabe's been a guest. So.
I right now I'll lean more towards serialized content just because of the quarantine's kind of like it's kind of forced me to kind of get into that. Before I'd obviously...
You have more time to invest.
Exactly. All that. More time to invest and, dive into, the characters and stories. But before I definitely say film, just because of the experience of going to see them. Theater, for me, going to the movie theaters is always like an event, and it's always usually mostly with friends. Sometimes I go by myself. I actually enjoy, going to the movies by myself sometimes.
Same,
to see
I think all
films.
of us, yeah.
I probably prefer going.
Do you really?
I actually would get upset at Gabe sometimes. He's like, I actually went and saw that. Like, you didn't even ask. I would have
It's therapeutic.
Yeah, no, it really is. I mean, when Black Panther dropped, half of the 20 million times I saw it by myself.
Yeah.
Some movies you just, you want that experience on that big screen and, that quality sound, just the whole thing. But while I can't choose, I will say right now, series are killing the game right now. They're really, a lot of storytellers are really giving us some really rich content. And so I'm enjoying that right now on all the streaming platforms.
Yeah, I think it's tough to choose, but I think right now I think because of the current climate too, series is where it's at for me. And I kind of like I share the same sentiment that you brought up, Gabe, where some of them like, all right, this feels like it's gonna go on forever, and they're telling one story, and because like, all right, it was cool, we're making money off this, let's just stretch it out or take it a different way and kind of just milk this until it's dry. But something that's been happening more recently, I think, is the limited series. And I think
Yes.
they've been really good, because most of the time with movies, I'm like, all right, like you said, there's a beginning, middle, and end. I feel satisfied, but I'm also like, this is so good, I want some more. Like, I want seconds, And with a good series, you kind of get that. And if it's done well, like you don't have the situation where it's getting dragged on or something. But like a good series that was a limited series was I don't even remember. It's on HBO Max. It has Hugh Grant in it. You guys remember the name?
Oh, let's just like look it up real quick.
Yeah.
Yeah, HBO Max is amazing.
HBO Max is killing it.
HBO period has always been incredible when it comes to series.
I've recommended it to so many people, and it's like slipping my mind right now.
Have you not recommended this series to me?
I definitely have, but I don't know.
I don't know. I feel some type of way.
No, I for sure did, and at the time you said that The Undoing. It's called The Undoing. The Undoing.
Yep.
I
That
found it at the
sound
same
familiar.
time as you
That
looked
does
it up.
sound familiar.
I said it, but you didn't have HBO Max at the time, and then I think you recently you got it after.
Yeah, I caved. I was trying to limit my streaming platforms because they cost me a lot of money, but I ended up caving. And so I think that's a good question, because what classifies something as a series? Like, there's movies out now that are 4 hours long.
That's true too.
That's a limited series.
Yeah, if you break it up, right?
Yeah, and then like you have movies like which I love, Hateful Eight. And when you see it in theater, it's super long. And then they put the extended version on Netflix as a limited series.
Yeah.
Like, that's how long the movies are. So I feel like for me, it's me knowing that there's a beginning, middle, and an end. I don't like the feeling of like, all right, this is never going to end.
Right.
But then there's also like what you were saying, where like you got to invest a lot of time in series.
In a series, yeah.
And so for me, with streaming, how you could like binge watch them. So yeah, like there are certain series that once I watch it, like that's it. And I think the first one I got hooked on was Prison Break. And Prison Break is 4 seasons long.
Yeah.
Right.
I was working full-time hours at the rec center at the time, and going to school, and I watched 4 seasons of Prison Break in a week and a half.
Wow. Oh my Lord.
There was a I don't know which one it was, but there was a series that I did that with.
Yeah, no, I've
and
done
how
that with
many
a couple
episodes
series.
per season?
I can't even remember, but there's
I
for
feel
sure
like
there's for sure
it's up
some
there.
there's for sure some that are like 22, and they're hour long.
Dang.
And they're hour long. Yeah.
Yeah, and right
where it
now,
gets-
I just started. Well, I shouldn't say. Depends on what you mean by just start. Maybe like 5 days ago, I started Game of Thrones.
Let's just start. Oh yeah, that's just starting.
Yeah, but when you say just start, I'm on like season 4 episode.
Oh wow!
You rolling through it.
That's
You rolling
almost a
through it.
season a day.
When
And this
do
man works a lot. Like,
do anything?
He's just not on the couch, just chilling all the time.
It's like, dang, that boy said I could walk and chew gum. I do multiple
could walk
things
and
at a
chew
time.
But
Yeah, I mean, I find myself, over the past 12 months, I mean, a lot of us have just been binging the hell out of stuff. I mean, yeah, I've torn up some shows in record time. Ozark, just really, really just good stuff. And stuff like that, content like that, they know when to end. You know what I mean? Like, they know when it comes to the length of time for each episode, how many episodes, when it's like, hey, we doing 5 seasons and that's it. Enjoy. And you do. You really get a full, encompassing experience with that type of serialized work. But yeah, I like what you said about with films. It's like I can go back and watch my favorite films all the time. It's a rarity to kind of go back all the time to one series and commit that much to one story. Especially when it's like it feels like 100 are dropping from the sky like every day. Like I feel like streaming platforms are out here trying to see who can drop the most new stuff in a month, in a week these days. I mean, we're getting so much now, which is great, for people like us. But yeah, I really I like that what you said, where it's like, my favorite film, The Dark Knight. I mean, I've seen that on FX like 100 times. Yeah, I've seen that Iron Man, like some of my favorites. When I flick through and see it on TV, I'm like, oh yeah, let me sit back, let me enjoy this for the 100th time.
Yeah, I guess for me, it kind of goes back to what I said last episode. Is like, just if it's a good story, I'm locked in.
Yeah,
facts. And if you have a good, like, if The Gentleman was a series, like I'd
The
be
Gentleman,
like, and
so gentleman.
So what's your guys' favorite series right now? I guess maybe top 3. There's so many.
Right now, or just
or maybe not right, just in general, including whatever. Just give it 3. You can do a before, now.
I won't. After. I'm not gonna include Game of Thrones since I'm currently watching it and I'm in the middle of it. But obviously, Prison Break, which I've already mentioned.
You've watched that one multiple times, though, huh?
What, Prison Break?
That series?
Because I recommend it to people and they were like, there's so many seasons, and I'm like, I'll watch it with you.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Prison Break, although I didn't necessarily enjoy the what we were just talking about, like they ended it perfectly and then they brought back like a random 5th season after so much time. I didn't necessarily enjoy that, but anywho, Prison Break is one of my favorites. And then it gets spooky because there's so many good ones that I like. I like Insecure. I like Power. I like How to Get Away with Murder. Yeah. I like if you can include docu-series, the Michael Jordan docu-series.
Yes.
There's so many.
I shouldn't ask this question.
Yeah, there's way too many for me to be like, all right, these are my favorite.
Yeah.
I mean, if you want to throw it in there, Tiger King.
That was
amazing. Gripping.
That was peak pandemic too.
I don't know if that's the one you want to describe as gripping.
Oh, listen.
Exit stage left.
Rawr. Okay. Grr. Man, yeah. Whew. Listen, that was a moment in time right there. I love my favorite series of all time is Breaking Bad. I love that series. And again, I'm like a character guy, performer guy. All the performances on that show, every single person is bringing it. And of course, the great Bryan Cranston. And Vince Gilligan, actually, the show creator, came to UF and spoke. And watching him break down, he was breaking down a couple scenes and just going through his mind about how he came about this story and, what he wanted to do with it. And then just seeing it blossom into like the phenomenon that it really grew into. It was just cool to see that as a creator and a writer, just like seeing him bring this crazy story to life. Was just so cool. Right now, I'm watching Snowfall, the FX series. Man, and it's crazy. Like, it was one of those shows where I kind of do this with a lot of shows, and I did it with Game of Thrones. If the latest season's like approaching and everyone's talking about it, I haven't seen the show yet. I ran through like all the previous stuff to get to the latest season to watch along with everybody. Because I kind of like that to like watch and like tweet along with people what's going on. I did that with Game of Thrones, Walking Dead. So I like those shows too. And going off of what we were talking about before with the difference between film and television, I do like that watch along ability that TV provides, particularly with social media. I love that with Insecure, with Atlanta, like kind of having that same experience like I was talking about, like in the scary movie theaters.
Really, so many good series.
Yeah, man, it's crazy.
You just named a whole bunch that I didn't name. I'm still thinking of more in my
head too, man. Yeah, bro. I even like kind of like in like the docu. I like the quasi docu series joints where it's like based on real events. I love The OJ
oh my gosh.
miniseries.
Yeah, that's,
Another
I'm surprised you
good
hadn't
one.
said
Now
that one
that
yet.
miniseries-
You said
Good
that's
one.
you rewatch it every year.
I
you
watch,
said.
I rewatch it all the time.
There's things that I watch once every year. Inglorious Bastards.
Yeah.
The O.J. Simpson docuseries with
Yeah.
Cuba Gooding Jr.
Yes.
Shawshank Redemption.
That's
Obviously.
multiple times a year, though.
Yeah. Do the Right Thing.
Yeah. I love Spike
Like-
stuff.
Yeah.
It's every year.
Yeah, man.
Have to watch them every year.
Yeah.
For me, like I kind of like that watch along, like you were saying too.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm also, for someone who says like I have a lot of patience, I'm also impatient too. Like I'm like, all right, like that episode was good, but now you have me waiting until next week.
Right.
Like,
right.
and when I'm thinking about it, I hear you guys talk about your favorite shows and stuff. A lot of them are like network shows and whatever, but most of mine are like streaming shows or shows that are like from Netflix or a streaming platform where I can run through it if I really like it in a week or less, or like you said, get through 5 seasons in 5 days.
Yeah.
But like, so for me, Ozark, Peaky Blinders, like that. Just when people when people are like, all right, can you give me a recommendation on what to watch? I'm like, after if it's not movies, I'm like, and if I'm talking series, I'm like, all right, Ozark, Peaky Blinders. The Last Kingdom is good. That's on Netflix.
Oh man, I got stuck on season 2.
There's I don't even. I have to go. I have a list saved in my
Yeah,
in
I
my
can-
notes where I just boop, boop,
Yeah, just
send.
be like,
You
yeah.
haven't seen these yet? Let me know when you finish these, and then we can get back. We can start talking again.
I could go through a list of ones that we didn't name that like Sons of Anarchy,
Oh man,
The Handmaid's Tale.
Handmaid's Tale.
Like there's so many
Yeah,
good
so many.
series.
Yeah.
that
Stranger
have-
Things.
Oh,
like,
jeez.
yo, like
I call it Stranger Kids.
Stranger
Shout out Nick.
Kids.
there's just so many good series. So
Yeah.
I mean, I told you I still lean more towards movies,
Yeah.
more so because I like the going to the movie experience.
Right.
And I'm less likely to get distracted while watching
Right,
it.
right.
But there are tons and tons of good series out there. Another When They See Us.
Yeah.
Like there's just so many,
Yes,
so many
man.
good.
Yeah, that's
so
what
many
you're
good
talking about,
So
the
many
docu
good.
series type based on real events type thing.
Yeah, man. And it's just like, it's really, I really do believe that we're in like a new golden age, like for film
Yeah.
and television. I mean, the quality of what we're getting at a like just a rapid pace.
And that was everyone's fear. Everyone's like,
Yeah,
all right,
everyone's like-
there's a platform for everything.
Right, right.
We're gonna get a bunch of weak content, and then there's gonna be only a few good things that people are gonna be paying.
And I do think that we will reach a point where the bubble pops just a little bit. Like I do think that eventually everyone's gonna be like, well, why don't I just bundle all of these streaming services? And eventually it's just gonna be channels again, where you go to the Netflix channel and the HBO Max channel, and it's like it's cable again, which is fine. I think what the most important thing is the quality, like I said, of the work. I mean, coming from again a superhero fan standpoint, getting this Marvel stuff is just like a dream come true, man. Like it is just incredible. Like the current series right now with Anthony Mackie, Falcon and the Winter Soldier, it's like I am watching a movie every week.
Yeah.
And I never thought I would see some of these stories brought to life like this. And it's good. Like it's not trash. Like it's really incredible stuff. Great acting, great storytelling, cinematography, you know what I mean? Just everything. The design. There's just so much that we're getting from a lot of these great shows. So yeah, man, this is a really cool time to just consume
movie wise
enjoy.
too, like
Yeah.
all the Netflix films and
Yeah, I think
HBO originals and so on.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, like you were saying, like you people were saying that it was just going to be so many that it was going to be not enough. But I think people underestimate how many creative minds are out there that are
And how many untold stories.
yeah,
Untapped.
untold stories, untapped
Untapped,
sources where before it was more like the in crowd were the ones who were telling the stories. And now because there's so many different networks, so many different streaming platforms, so many different things, like
indies are becoming mainstream almost.
Yeah.
I mean, I just
this is something
legit
you
thought
preach.
of more series.
This is something
bro.
you preach all
This
the
is
time.
us.
This is us.
The
Right.
Punisher, Luke Cage.
Oh my God, we were talking about the Netflix Marvel series in the
So
car.
many-
Yeah, bro. It's
There's
crazy.
just it's a lot of good, really good content out right now for people to consume, which is good for us because that means we'll never run out of things to talk about.
Ever, man. And it's like you said, that's a great point. How like the indie world is basically mainstream, because really when you think about how the movie business was set up, it was like the indie world was the marginalized voice. It was, this is probably not going to make, $100K at the box office, 100,000 at the box office, whatever the box office. But this is a small story that, what we think a small group will relate to or, want to see and pay money to see. But now it's like we'll definitely be talking about with our next film. It's like there's so much that you don't know.
Facts.
There's just so many stories, so many things that are still among us. There are still, a lot of these stories are deriving from. A lot of it is still stuff that you can tangibly feel and experience. And so this is an incredibly important time for us as creators ourselves in this world to, bring a lot of these things to light.
Yeah.
And I'm really excited about the future of film, of television, because we're going to be learning things and experiencing things that we have never, seen before. So
yeah, and not only that, but like indie films of the past are now getting more attention because they're more accessible and like
right, that too.
There's more recognition and more people looking for them now.
Yeah. It's a great point, man. It's a good time, guys. It's a good time.
Perfect segue into what we wanted to talk about today. Mm-hmm. Concrete Cowboy.
Concrete Cowboys.
And definitely an original story and a unique story and unique way to tell it. But you want to go ahead and intro it, Gabe or Amari?
So Concrete Cowboys, plot-wise, is about a young lad who is having some troubled youth problems and gets sent to stay with his father, who is, I think, if I remember correctly, ex-felon, ex-con.
Right.
Yeah.
But he gets sent to live with his father, and when he gets there, he realizes that his father is really into horses, so much so that one lives in like the living room.
Yeah.
And
this is in downtown Philly.
Yeah, this is not like
middle Philly. Like this
this ain't like in the boonies in a random ranch.
Yeah,
this is like
little Snoop Philly.
They got horses over here. They have the bike gang over here and motor whatever, and then the downtown Philly is all in the same spot.
Yeah, and so his dad is showing him some tough love and trying to, I guess, correct his behavior and keep him out of trouble. And he's doing so by introducing him to horses and horse riding, etc. And, how to maintain, take care of horses, train them, etc. But like they said, this isn't like in an actual like ranch design. They have like their stable, but this stable is like right in the heart of the city.
Right.
It's an apartment, but they just knocked down the walls and turned it into a stable, basically.
Yeah, so that's the plot of the movie.
Yeah. Tons of fun. Again, this is a story like I had no clue. Like I didn't know that. Sure. Now I knew about Black Cowboys and I knew about the incredible history and untold stories of African American cowboys. But I had no clue about, Pennsylvania, specifically Philadelphia, which, you don't.
Because there's definitely country parts to Pennsylvania.
Oh, for sure. But when I think of Philly, I think of, chopped cheese and I think of, ATVs and, like I said, Meat Mill Philly. That's the Philly I think about. I don't think about no horses or stables.
Being in the midst of all that.
Yeah, like literally in the middle of the city. Like, it's like, oh my God. Like, yeah, like the horses were like posted up, like, on the side of the side of the buildings. I was like, okay, this is interesting. So yeah, like this was like a really eye-opening film for me. And it was really exciting because I was like, and when I saw like the trailer drop and stuff and like that this film was coming, I was like, this is what I'm talking about.
Yeah. Like
these are the stories, man, because, particularly for African Americans, we shout to the mountaintops all the time about, untold and, sometimes erased stories or, the attempt to erase stories and rewrite history. And so this was a really cool, story about Black history. And I love that. And so Yeah, man. I think I got the cast pulled up. This is a really cool cast. You can't go wrong with Idris Elba. You know,
Yeah,
it's like
he
you
doesn't
just
miss. He doesn't
can't.
miss.
Like he doesn't miss. He knows the assignment,
He knows the assignment.
and he brings it, man. Like he's really just he's an all around talent. And he's another performer for me who makes me just believe what's going on. Like, and you would never think. I for the longest did not know that he was British.
Yeah, no, for sure, no.
Like
Yeah,
I
for sure
did not know. Like I think everyone can
I'm like,
kind of.
he can act and talk in a
Yeah,
British
I was
accent.
like,
That's
wow.
crazy. He can do that.
Like this is crazy.
Usually,
like,
we don't really see that from American actors. They're like, oh, okay, he's not.
yo, I mean, he is so talented, and I mean, I feel like he's everywhere now, but he needs more. Like I don't even know. Like
Yeah, like Daddy's Little Girls. That was
I was
dope.
like, it's crazy, and so yeah, he does it for me. Someone who I've seen on the timeline recently, they actually today I saw like trending. They were talking about top 10 rappers turned actors, and a lot of people were like in comments and stuff going in for Method Man,
Facts.
bro.
Facts.
Like he is a really
Facts.
good actor, bro.
Facts.
Like I really
Facts.
enjoy seeing him on screen. He's great in the new Power series. I don't know if you guys have
Facts.
seen
Yep.
that. He's awesome in that. And just seeing him pop up and stuff. I mean, I remember seeing him first in Soul Plane, just being the fun, like, bop, bop, bop. But now he's really, like, bringing...
And how high?
Yeah, how high, exactly. Like, but now he's bringing some gravitas. He's bringing some drama to the situation. Like, he's really...
Showing some range.
Yeah, he's showing that range, man. And so I think that's really, really cool. My guy, we were talking about Stranger Things, Caleb, he was really cool in this. He's, a really cool young performer coming up. He's my current fan cast going to back to the superhero stuff for Static Shock. I think he would be pretty cool in that. He's just like cool. I like his edge. This is my first time seeing him like curse and stuff. I think he cursed a little bit in Stranger Things, but like he's around like black folks in this, so it's like he's saying nigga,
it's a different
like,
tone,
I don't give a
different.
fuck, like you motherfuckers like I was like, okay, Caleb, I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it was just an all around really, really, again, eye opening experience. I guess we'll go more into just like how the movie kind of goes along, and how the story progresses. Yeah. But overall, I love this. Oh, Jarrell Jerome, I didn't mention. We were talking about when they
Award winning.
Exactly, Emmy for this guy. He is excellent in this. He's another one to be on the watch for in future projects. He's awesome.
Yeah. But yeah, I wanted to shout out all the Stranger Kids cast. They're getting out of like that kid role. Like they're progressing and growing into actors that I guess have more range or not pigeonholed into typecasted into what they've already done. And they're definitely stretching their arms and taking on.
And it's kind of cool.
Challenges.
Like with these current kid actors, the content in general that we're consuming these days is more mature anyway. And so I think like with the Stranger Kids films, like they were like
Stranger
regular.
Things.
Now you got me saying Stranger Kids. With these strange children, some of the materials are kind of pretty mature in that series, and a lot of them kind of like were getting parts and stuff. They weren't being typecasted, but they were getting a lot of stuff that was similar. So like you had Finn and I think another character from Stranger Things in the It films. You know what I mean? Where it's like they're kids, but like, the content is very mature. And so I think that's really cool to see too, seeing a lot of these kids, like they didn't really have to worry about being stuck in that, Home Alone syndrome or something like that, where it's like, all I see you is as a kid. Like you were already, shooting the breeze and, being very adult in a lot of ways. But this is still a really cool retreat for Caleb into some more, this definitely, you could tell it felt more like home for him naturally because he's black. Yeah. And so that was cool to see him around more performers that, were talking like him, doing a lot of things that you could relate to.
One of the I guess it's the intro to the movie, but one of my favorite parts, I guess, after watching it for the second time was how they introduced the story. How it was like a phone recorded or a voice message of the principal, whoever, saying, hey, like, he's a problem kid. So you're getting all the information and background information without like someone, like in a creative way rather than someone just saying, or like there being text on the screen like, hey, this kid has done this, or whatever.
Right.
And that drive in over to Philly from Detroit. One, I thought, I was like, all right, they went from Philly to Detroit that
I know. I
fast.
was like,
but
damn. First of all, Mama
But-
didn't waste no time. She
Right.
like to put his shit in a garbage bag, threw that shit out the car. It's like,
Yeah.
get your black ass out of this car. She
Just
locked
left
the
him in the middle of the
doors.
street.
Like she was done.
He was sitting there, Mama, don't leave me.
Mama,
no.
don't leave me,
He was
please.
like,
Mama, don't
"Mommy."
leave me.
I was like, oh, it's serious.
She was like crying. She was like, I'm leaving your ass, nigga. Don't tell this to me. I was like, dang, Mama.
But yeah, just like introing the, like, you get right into the crux of what the film is and like the action without doing it in a dry or cliche kind of way. But yeah, other than that, I mean, there's a lot to like about this film. What Gabe, what was your take on, what did you think about it overall?
So I loved it. I mean, like you were saying, I love the fact that it was based on a true story. I also like films where, like, so I didn't see any of like the marketing promo for this
Same.
or anything like that. I like when films, instead of telling me right in the beginning that it's based on a true story, I like watching the whole movie
Find it
and then
out.
being like, dang, this is crazy. What if something like this really did happen? And then they'd be like, based on a true story. And I'm like,
Yeah, like that.
so yeah, I super duper love that. And then at the end, like the outtakes, them having like the people who are actually in
the movie,
in
yeah,
the movie,
like,
Yeah.
performing,
That's what
doing
I
a
meant.
good job.
Yeah.
Like, you know, who better to convey them but them?
You're right.
You know what I'm saying? So like, yeah, I love that. And then what you're saying earlier, like so many things that we just don't know.
Yeah.
There's no one would have been able to convince me that as a black guy, I could just have a horse in the city.
Right.
Just be like, hey, you see this building over there? We're just gonna knock a couple of these walls down, throw some horses in there,
Yeah,
and make
see
it a
this
stable.
empty lot. We're just
And then
going
the fact that it
racehorses
wasn't
here.
just one.
Yeah.
Like when they had the little festival, and it was like, oh, this person's from this stable, this person's from this
Right.
stable, this person. It's like, oh, this is a normal thing, all over the place.
Yeah. All
Yeah.
over, Philly. But even at the end, there the people who were acting, but were actually Concrete Cowboys. Were like, yeah, it's like some people don't even know that we're out here. But that I liked like the part where you were talking about them telling you later on, hey, this was based on a true story, but not even saying, hey, it's based on a true story. It's like, all right, this actor that you just saw, like dude in a wheelchair, or the other girl, like this is their real story, or like some stats about them. Like, wait, they're not even actors. Like
Right,
this is
right. Like,
this
oh,
is what
this
they
is
really
real.
like. Like
His real name's Paris, and her
Right.
real name. You know what I'm saying? Like,
they didn't like, you watching the movie. They did a great job. You would have never known they weren't actors. Like they didn't do. I wouldn't say like, all right, they should be nominated for awards and stuff like that. But they didn't take away anything from the film from not having previous experience.
Yeah.
And it probably kind of helps because you're living your own story and
right.
and playing yourself, but playing yourself in the literal sense, not playing yourself like DJ Khaled.
Congratulations, you played yourself.
But-
Khaled, you're
You
playing.
played
This. No,
yourself.
not that at all.
But yeah, I liked the way it was shot too. It made you feel like you were watching a western, even though it was in the middle.
absolutely.
Even though it was in the middle of the city in Philadelphia.
Yeah, and it's
And-
crazy because I'm sorry, I
No, you're good.
kind of cut it, but it really, when I first was hearing rumblings of the film,
Mm-hmm.
I thought that it was going to be a western. I thought it was going to be a western, like with like a bunch of black people, and I was like, oh shit, like that, like finally, like we getting like
Yeah.
you know like Django, but it's
Right,
like
exactly.
you know what I
Like,
mean?
when
I was like, ooh, Idris Elba and I was like, wait,
Yeah.
but then it was a cool flip. I was like, oh wait, no, this is based on a true
Right.
story, and it's in Philly. Like I have no clue that this like even existed. Like, so it's almost kind of like it's that essence, but it's modern and very real.
I
You know what I'm
definitely
saying?
thought it was gonna have Tarantino vibes when I first saw that. I was like, all right, it's gonna be
geeked.
lit. Like like not Tarantino, but they're gonna take something that doesn't belong somewhere and then make it belong.
Right.
But it was a nice surprise when you find out, oh, okay, like this is the story. Not that I wasn't expecting this, and they still killed it. And I guess a point you made was you didn't really know much about the film before watching it. I saw some like material on it because it's Netflix, so they show you like parts or whatever, and you're not watching the film before you watch it. Like they did a very good job with their trailer and how they either teased it or what they showed you, in a way to gain interest without showing you all the best parts or telling you the entire story.
Yeah.
Yeah. Story was dope. again, I knowing that it's based on a true story is wild to me. It had some things in there that, I mean, you would expect, like, hey, these officers or white people don't want you guys to have horses.
Horses here.
Kind of
Yo,
makes sense.
as soon as the they were talking about the white lady that came to interview them, I'm like, all right, it's getting shut down.
Right, yeah, no,
she
for
wasn't
sure.
here on her own accord being
Nah,
nice. Like
at all.
she's down here,
Yeah, it's about to go down
trying
later.
to stir something up, and it's gonna.
And
This is where things go wrong.
Exactly.
Yeah. And I also liked, the whole, like, takes a village type of attitude
Yeah.
where, like, when he got there to his dad, like, the dad was giving him some tough love, but he was trying to go to a neighbor. And neighbor was like, nah, you can't stay here. You try to go to this place. Nah, you can't. Like, everybody was giving him tough love.
You got to eat the what they say?
The slop.
Yeah, eat the slop before you.
Eat the slop.
And
like,
then,
"What's that?"
although this is in a city, they had a very, like, country discipline type thing. Like,
Yes.
anyone who grew up in the country or have family that's from the country, they're very much so like, hey, you got to go out here. You got to, clean up this pen, clean up this.
Yeah.
Go plant this. Go, have you out there working with your hands all day, every day, and earn everything that you're gonna get inside the house. And that's kind of like, he got there, he started getting fascinated with horses, and he was like, I want to ride a horse. And he immediately like, oh, you want to ride a horse? Oh,
You
got to
didn't
go
even put
work
the work in, yeah.
you got to go work the stables immediately. And he went there, and they all watched him struggle for a little bit, and he was like, all right, let me help you out. You're gonna be out here all year trying to do it this way. So yeah, I like those types of aspects where it's like, although I'm not in those situations, they're super duper relatable as far as like, all right, this is a parenting thing done that a lot of parents do, but it's just done in a different way, different style.
When I'm not here, you better listen up to.
Because someone else is gonna be there too, And then
If I find out from them, it's gonna be worse when you come home.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, there were so many incredibly important themes in this film. One, I think the biggest one, well, I'll say the second biggest one, and I'll say the biggest one to me at the end, but the second biggest one for me is obviously family. You know what I mean? The importance of that family environment, community. Like you were saying, like how he was rejected when he first got there. Like, hey, open a door, like, you know what I mean? Open your home to me. Like, no, we got the word on you. You need to go and, earn, basically earn your place in this community. You know what I mean? It's like Nessie was telling him, that was the character.
Yeah,
right?
Nessie.
Nessie. She was basically just like, hey, welcome back. Like, now it's time to, get it out the mud and really, earn your stripes here in these streets. And that's something to be appreciated. I think the other part of that is fathers and sons in that relationship, particularly black fathers and sons. I think that's a theme that needs to be weighed in on even more and shown even more. I think we get a lot of great black mothers and motherly figures in films. I think it's important that we see not just great fathers on screen, but the growth. I liked seeing the growth from beginning to end in this film of Idris Elba's character to embracing that role of being a father in Caleb's character's life. And then my most important theme for me in this film is buying back the block.
Yeah.
And when I say buy back the block, this film pretty much is talking about gentrification. And, the stripping of black culture, black history from historically black and rich areas in our country. And it's crazy. I have this article that I was reading today. Yeah, I was reading today from the LA Times. They were talking about this area in Manhattan Beach called Bruce's Beach. And it was basically in the early 1900s, there was this spot called Bruce's Beach, and black families they had homes, resorts, the whole bit, like on this strip on Manhattan Beach. And essentially the city came in and they were like, we're seizing this area because of eminent domain, and you all have to get out of here. And we're gonna turn it, they turned it into a park. They were like, oh yeah, we need a park here, and so y'all gotta go. And it was basically like, get y'all black asses out of here. We are building a resort on top of y'all shit, and we can't have black people here. And right now, they're in the process of putting legislation in place to get that property back.
Okay.
And they're going through all the motions to basically take back what is theirs. And they're actually getting the county, the city, and the state to issue out apologies and just give everyone their just due. And so I like how this film kind of highlighted, that story that is so, it's so prevalent around the country, around the world. I mean, there's so much that's been stolen from us. I mean, there's a whole podcast in itself. We could talk about that. But just to close that, I really do appreciate that, that highlight to just be like, not only is this like a story about untold, marginalized voices, but this is stuff that we need to preserve. This is stuff that we need to save. This is stuff that we need to continue to tell and retell to generations to just keep the culture moving. So that was really the part of this whole thing that I really appreciated. And yeah, I implore you all to like consume not just this story, but all stories. I mean, your neighborhood, your own neighborhoods and your own, neighbors are trying to fight this fight to, just keep on keeping on. As Black and brown people, marginalized, and so that was really cool for me, and I really liked that.
It was definitely an apparent theme, and Method Man, his character, even alluded to it too. He's like, yeah, like y'all are renting, y'all don't own it. Like pull together and buy it, and they can't tell you what to do with it after that.
Yep.
But that, and then I guess you were talking about it before, but I think the theme they were trying to drive home the most was just family, and that. Even through all the stuff you were just talking about and saying that even if you don't have the property, like the family and the community is really where the value is.
Right.
Yeah, I like how they did a lot of everyone had similar goals but different routes to get there, right? So, Method Man kind of takes the lead character to like a track. Right. It was like, listen, you want to ride? You could by all means ride the way you're riding horses, but you could do it this way. And this is what he does all day, every day as a career. And then Smush wanting to have his own stable. He's literally saying what we're saying. Like he wants to have his own stable, own his own thing. They can come in and put us out in any kind of way, but he's going about it the wrong way, how to acquire the finances to do it. And then obviously those people they're in their community, they're in their place to like, this is our stable. Like how could someone tell us that this isn't, you know what I'm saying? So they all basically have the same goal of like, we this is what we love doing. We want to be able to do this for the rest of our lives and teach our kids, and they be able to teach their kids about this type of lifestyle and how to do this. But everybody had different pathways to get there. And I think in a lot of movies, a lot of times they have,
There's
people
one
just,
way.
it's one way, and either it's hot or cold. Like everyone is completely on different sides of the fence about like the end result or what the end goal is going to be. And all these characters are very, Method Man's a cop. And he wants a similar result. Smush, is a kid who's, getting mixed up in the wrong things, but he wants the same result. You have all these old timers who are like, kind of stuck in their ways, but they all want the same result. And for me, that's super relatable because I think in today's time, a lot of the topics that we discuss between generations, especially amongst Black people, like we all have the same end goal, but we all have a difference of opinion on how we should get there.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, really good points. I guess we can kind of just go into all the performances I really enjoyed. Again, Meth was great. I loved the Nessie character. I thought she was a great, that motherly figure, that auntie figure, really, really cool. I loved the Isha character. I think, I guess maybe another theme, I suppose, like that push and pull, particularly in our youth, between, going in one direction, going the other direction.
And what the realistic options are.
Exactly.
For people in situations like that or in these communities.
Yep. And it's like, Caleb's character gets a very big reality check when Jerome's character is killed. And loses his life. Yeah, spoiler.
I was waiting. I was like, the entire movie. I'm like, someone's dying.
Yeah, someone's got to die.
Who's
Someone's
it
got to
gonna be?
go.
Like,
We are.
who's it
You know what
gonna
I'm saying? The
be?
minute I saw Jay, I'm like, okay, Jay. Like, what we're getting ready to do? Like, what kind of stupid? What's gonna go wrong with you? So yeah, I mean that, and I think in a lot of metro areas, a lot of families and communities are dealing with that, particularly in the Black community, that push and pull between, leading, not a proper, but just a law abiding and, getting that education type of lifestyle. And then you have the street lifestyle and the hood and, the glamorization of, crime and just like fast money, fast lifestyle, drugs and, the whole deal. That's definitely another huge thing that we're dealing with in today's society, particularly from, the hip hop lane, which was, another small connection with this film for me again, because I was like, I really do associate Philly, now that I think about it, with hip hop kind of, you know what I mean? Like you were saying Fresh Prince is one of your favorite shows. I associate, Fresh Prince and Meek Mill and Kevin Hart. Like I think of like, hip hop culture. So yeah, that's definitely another thing in this film where I was like, yeah, they definitely covered that and really just try to shine a light on like, hey, like look, like you can go in that direction if you want. There, you play stupid games, you win stupid prizes.
Yeah.
So it's like, especially in the streets, like you make one wrong move and that was your last move. So that was really cool, and I hope a lot of young people watch that part of it too, to just be like, there's another way to just really live life.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you guys who or what was a bright spot in the film for you. For me, it was one, the cinematography, but how they made you feel like you were in a Western, and how the movie just like sucked you in immediately. And then also that it wasn't, it sounds funny to say, but it wasn't corny, because a lot of times Black stories are told in a corny way.
Yep.
Like the music that they used was. And I noticed in my second watching, it didn't distract from the story, and it was really timely, and the music was good. It wasn't like I've seen other films, I won't say names, where like the music just is like terrible, but it's hip hop, and they're just like, all right, it's a hip hop song, so just throw it in there. But it wasn't corny. I appreciated that a lot.
Yeah, so kind of somewhat piggybacking off what you said, although this is like a cowboy film, it was very Black, meaning like it had a very like, you had the people hanging out just telling old stories, probably lying, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, probably lying. You had like
he won by a tooth and he shot his teeth out, and the photo finished. Like
you could put a soda cup on his teeth; they were stuck out like this. I was like, yeah.
Everybody's
so you got that uncle, that cousin.
Facts. You had like the block party or barbecue vibe, and they freaking raced the horses like it was like a foot race. Like it was just in the middle of a barbecue, and they decide to race. So it was, for me, hearing Concrete Cowboys, I was not expecting for it to feel just like hanging out with Black folk. And I feel like that to me was a super duper bright spot, because, and it kind of touches on that in the film, where it was like, listen, there are Black cowboys. We've been around forever. We're not new, and we're still here. People just don't know that we're here. And for me, I was like, I 100% feel like they're cowboys, and I 100% feel like they're Black. Like everything about them felt, you know what I'm saying, Black. And then my second bright spot would be something you touched on earlier, which was Niece's character. And I feel like she was one of the motherly figure that everyone listened to. Even Idris Elba's character, who seemed like he had to be
accountable.
But he listened to her. When she spoke, he listened to her. Yeah. And so I felt like we all know that type of
matriarch.
Yeah. So I that would be my second bright spot.
Yeah. I mean, oh man. Just going off of that, I found so many just cool nuggets of information that I didn't know connected to Black cowboys. Like, I mean, I had no clue that the Lone Ranger was originally Black, depicted as a Black person. which is a historically, legendary,
Figure.
epic tale of this guy who's never been depicted black from my recollection. And then like even the inception of the word cowboy is incredibly ingrained in racism and our culture. It was originally cowhands, and it was white folks telling hey boy, go grab that horse boy, and it evolved into cowboy. Like that's just like
And now you have the Dallas Cowboys.
something so right, but, you know what I mean? But like, and then it's just like you think about the word cowboy and how much a part of our culture it is. And then you get that small nugget, and you just like, damn, like
It's been whitewashed.
that's racist.
No. Yeah, it's racist, and then like
that word is racist.
And
Like, wow.
we only know. Well, I shouldn't say we only know, but most people when they think of cowboy, they do not think of black people.
You think of Josie Wales and Clint Eastwood
at all. And that goes great into my spot. Like my highlight of the film is the horse, Boo. I think the connection between black people and animals and nature is incredibly severed in our current culture. We do not have a good, like, if I always have this dream, like if it was the end of if the power grid shut down tonight, we'd be screwed. The hood would be screwed. We'd all be screwed because we don't know, you know what I mean? We don't know how to follow the North Star. We don't know how to, match a, fire up a campfire or whatever. Like,
Speak for yourself.
do you, well, y'all are kind of nature guys, but the average Negro does not know what to do in the middle of the Yellowstone Park. Okay, we don't know, what these sounds are, these smells. Bear Grylls would have a day with us because we are not connected like we used to be.
So everyone's a bunch of Marshawn Lynches, what you saying?
No, but for real though, like we don't have that connection anymore. And when you think about the motherland and just like overall, like how animals and nature was very much a part of our internal, history. Like as black people, we were very much a part of the land. I mean, everything that we did was from the land. So it's like, I think that this was another great part of the story where it was like, we need to get back to understanding nature. We need to get back to understanding animals. Like cowboys, it's like, that's all they do is like work with horses. And Nessie was saying that in like the campfire. She was like, they did, white folks, they didn't know what to do. They thought that horses were to be dominated.
That they had to be
and
broken.
That's how, and like we understood, black folks understood. She said verbatim, black folks understood that, they need to be nurtured. Like they are also, living, breathing creatures. And we knew how to do that as cowboys, as those black cowboys. So that was something to me too. I was just like, wow, like, these are certain things you just don't think about. We don't talk about, and we haven't explored as, modern black folks. You know what I mean?
It was, you already brought this up, but it was a good piece for taking back history that has been whitewashed or changed and told us, hey, this is how it was.
So I have a hilarious joke that I just told to an older person yesterday. It made me think about what you just said.
I love jokes.
So for my whole life, I've been hearing, oh, you need to learn how to do this. You need to learn how to do that because if the world shut down, you're not going to have all that technology. And then the world shut down, and what saves us? It was
Technology.
Technology, baby.
That's true. That's true.
Oh man. So but I don't disagree with you at all. I mean, like you said, AJ and I are nature lovers. And we super duper love animals. So I for sure agree with you, and I definitely think that the idea that black people don't like animals or have a distorted perception of animals is ridiculous. But so I would say that Boo and his connection with Boo is a bright spot because it pointed out that it's not always up to us. Right. Like he didn't choose the horse. The horse chose him. The horse didn't really listen to anybody else but him. And everyone kind of had that connection with their own horse. All their horses kind of was like, all right, this is this person's horse. No one else can do with this horse what this person, can do.
Right.
And not only that, it was like, I think it's purposely done. Like the trouble horse was like chose the trouble
Paris was like,
kid,
oh no, you're crazy.
because they had a connection or whatever, or were on the same level in a sense.
Yeah.
And they kind of helped each other through being looked at as the problem. I thought he was gonna try to steal the horse when they were taking him back, like immediately, and he was gonna be arrested. And I was like, this movie better not go this way. Like,
I know.
like I'm not trying to see another police brutality or whatever.
Yeah, but when I saw Method Man, I was like, they're getting off.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Like, they're getting away. As soon as I saw Method Man, I was like, they're getting away. And I know this is a touchy thing right now between black people in their relationship with officers.
Law enforcement. Yep.
Yeah, with law enforcement. But I feel like that's the importance of having someone who grew up in that community
For
and is
sure.
a part of the
As a-
people and know like this person's character and know them as
How
a
to talk to
person.
them,
Like,
yeah.
you know what I'm saying? Like that's the biggest difference right there. Like he said it. He was like, oh, if this rookie cop would have came in here, he would have been
Yeah,
he would have
trigger
had
happy.
he would have been trigger happy, and this could have went left. So that's
I've been waiting here for 3 days. For
3
you guys to do
days
this.
waiting for you guys to do this because I know you and I know
Yeah.
this is
Oh,
what
it's
you're gonna
go
do.
down. Yep. Yeah. Yeah, man. I mean, overall, I just think again, like, just a really, really cool, eye-opening experience with this one, and everyone, delivered performance-wise. Even the people who were coming from, real experience, they really brought. They could have easily just kind of phoned it in and just whatever. But I enjoyed Paris. I enjoyed the Isha character. And everyone who contributed, the elders that were coming in and talking about some of those stories, I thought was really, really cool.
Oh, towards the end.
Towards the end, and then
the
even like
outtakes?
in like the campfire scene
Yeah,
when
okay.
they were playing the harmonica and just like stuff like that. I love that, and I love that connection between the young and the old, and this feels like another one of those like things that's being passed down to us. You know what I mean? As a culture, just like learning about this. And this is something that we can, add to, the Black history segments in school and, just overall having more conversations about, some of these untold stories. So, yeah, this was really, really cool. I like this one, guys.
I know I already said my bright spots, but another one for me was that they grounded it at the end.
Right.
Like yes, that's when they revealed that it was based on a true story, but one, they had real people in the movie that were actually Concrete Cowboys. So it gave them a chance to tell their story. And then at the end, they grounded even more by letting people who also lived in the area that would necessarily weren't in the movie tell their stories and give their testimonials and so on like that. So it wasn't like, hey, this could be a cool, dope movie. We're just going to tell it and then throw something in the credits so that people know it's based on a true story, stuff's happening. No, they actually like, you know what? We're going to let you guys tell it too. We told it. You guys are also telling it. You guys are co-signing this, or you guys get to say your piece on it. Yeah, which is dope.
So I'm gonna switch it up because we went first last time. So what would be your rating of the movie?
My rating? Ooh, it's tough.
Put him on the spot. Put him on the spot.
Let's hear it.
Try to take bias out of it. I want to say 8.
Yeah.
Good movie. 7 would be like an okay movie for me. 8, it was good. They hit all the themes, or they touched on all the themes. They delivered it in a good way. But yeah, I think I want to say 8 right now because I might be like trying to. Last movie I gave it a 10, and this one I'm giving an 8. So I don't want to I'm trying to just not pigeonhole myself into giving every movie a 9 or every movie a 10 type thing.
Well,
But-
so I'm in the same ballpark. I
Yeah.
would go 8, 8.5.
Yeah.
On this movie, super. Like I said, real good movie. I definitely would recommend people go watch it.
Yeah.
Which would be our next. I guess our next thing would be would we recommend it? Yeah, definitely would recommend people to go watch it. And not only you, I think it's actually a dope family movie.
Yeah.
For sure.
I think it'd be a dope
most
family movie to
definitely.
watch. Yeah.
Most
So it's not. You can watch it with a gang.
Yeah. I'll go 8.5 on this one. Just an important story. And it's got some rewatchability. I think I could, go back and give it another spin. Is this, Academy Award, bait situation? No. There are great performances. I think this is a nice advancement for Caleb in his young career. This is another, great feather on Idris's cap, on Meth's cap. They're all, really fun to watch on screen. And that was, the performances was definitely a highlight here. I did, some people, when I told them I was going to be watching this and reviewing it, some people did tell me, it's going to drag a little bit at some parts. It is going to, sometimes it might feel like some things need to be cut here, or maybe the film overall might have gone a little bit longer. I didn't necessarily feel that. I do feel like you said earlier, AJ, it does kind of just jump right into the situation.
Yeah.
Like, it does start off kind of like grim, desaturated, like super like low, like this is a really sad life this child's living. But then it picks up when he starts to get ingrained into the culture in Philly and meets all these characters and starts to really, come into his own. This is a coming of age film, really, when you think about it. And it's really cool seeing this young man via this incredible story that a lot of us don't know about. Discover himself and kind of get in tune with himself in this community. So yeah, 8.5, definitely go check it out. And tell others check it out, particularly, Black folks. Like, these are stories that we need to start telling more of. And I wanted to, since I'm ending this part, I wanted to get you guys' opinion on maybe a story or two that you guys would like to see brought to life or highlighted. What's your kind of? I guess I'll start. So a story that I would love, an untold story, a marginalized story that a lot of people I feel should learn about, know about, is about Milestone Comics. I don't know if you guys know, but Milestone Comics is Static Shock. There's a lot of other really cool characters that were created in the Milestone universe. And basically, 4 or 5 guys, Black guys, came together. There were a couple were in business. One, Dwayne McDuffie, who was really revered and incredibly important person in cartoons and animation, comic books. He brought us Justice League Unlimited. He did a lot of writing for DC, Marvel. And he was kind of like the leader of the Milestone Comics wave in the early 90s. It was the first major Black-owned comic book company. And eventually, obviously, they got dissolved into DC, but now they're making a resurgence. This year, actually, they're going to be putting out some new books for a lot of their characters. And obviously, there have been rumblings with Static. Michael B. Jordan's supposedly tapped to produce a film. But yeah, it all started from these young black men, with jobs and in business and what have you, coming together to make this comic book company. And they came together, made this whole comic Bible, and it was like Marvel and DC, and like they had their own thing and they sold millions of comics. Yeah, I think it would be really cool to like learn about them and what they did and how they did it in the early 90s. It's a very white dominated, predominantly white environment, comic books and genre, sci-fi, fantasy. So yeah, that's something that I would love to see like brought to life.
So I'll go next since you went first last time. I have quite a few of these actually, and some of them are more concepts and some of them are exact things. So since we're just talking about buying back the Black ownership, etc., I think this would be better as a series. But Black Wall Street definitely would be a lit series about how it came about, how it started, the inner workings, what they ended up creating, etc. I think that'd be dope. Some other concepts I have is like a lot of people, when people are creating movies, they're always thinking about like these people who are like household names or global names. And I think there's a lot of stories of people who've impacted numerous lives that aren't necessarily like they're the small town person, like the teacher who taught everyone in this neighborhood how to read for years, or something along those lines, where like we touch on that person and their story and how they, taught themselves how to read, and how they like. There's tons of stories like that that I don't feel like gets told enough. And then one that I talk about all the time is like the quirky, funny, romantic comedies, but with Black people, meaning like not necessarily like I'm talking about like picture a Vince Vaughn movie, but with all black, all black class. Where so meaning like this on, the guy doesn't necessarily have to be a sex symbol. He's just a normal at home, quirky guy. In my head, for some reason, I think
Average Joe or whatever.
In my head, for some reason, I'm thinking like an earthquake type of person, like someone who's just like those type of movies. I feel like seeing
Craig Robinson,
just seeing a normal black family who has like funny moments, like kind of like Blackish, but movies,
like sophisticated comedy. We're so missing that. I always say that too. Like our generation, we don't have like a Superbad, we don't have a Pineapple Express, we don't like those type of films. Like we are missing that for sure. Sophisticated comedy, like, and not even like highbrow, like saying that. It's just like it can't always be like, the oversaturated, super light and quippy, like, I don't want to say any names, but you guys know what kind of comedy we usually get if it's starring some black folks. Like it's the same kind of one note, film, and there's so much more to us. Like, and I would love to see. And I mean, going back to Jordan Peele, it's like, I watched an interview with him talking about the dark comedy in horror, particularly with black people, like the humor that we sometimes find when we are in fear or we feel like we're in danger, like that humor to see another black person kind of go through something that's extraordinary or frightening. So there's so many avenues for us to explore. I totally agree with you.
What was that? There was like an Instagram, like, I don't know if a comedian, whatever, just some people put out content where they were like scary movies or like haunted house movies if the family was black.
Yep.
And like they walk in after they get to these, like, you got your keys, this and that. And then as soon as I'm like, all right, we're out. Like, actually, we're not gonna take this place. Rather than in all these other films where people are like, no, we're just gonna, let's see what the ghost wants. Yeah. I'm like, let's see, like, he might not kill us or whatever.
Exactly.
I just can't imagine if Wedding Crashers were black weddings, like them having to do the electric slide 1,000 times.
Yes.
Like just movies like that where it's like, okay, this is a story where this story would make sense no matter who was playing it.
Yeah.
But having their characters be black, I feel like, yes, of course, I enjoy intentional black stories for sure, but I also enjoy like us being put in the light where it's like, okay, these are stories that like you only see white people playing, or having these types of movies, and they're like feel good, funny, quirky movies you can watch with the family, but. And I think as someone who I think did a good job with that, I mean, a lot of people don't like some of these movies, but Eddie Murphy did a good job with like the Dr. Doolittle's, the 1,000 words.
It's like, I just so happen to be black. Like, whoops.
Yeah, like any, you know what I'm saying? There's if a white person played that character, it wouldn't change the story of it per se. But seeing him and seeing it be a black family do those types of things, I think that's something that we're missing now.
Right.
Definitely.
Yeah, for me, it would kind of playing off that, I'll say two things, but just not, I called it corny earlier, but just non-cliche black films, basically. Not like telling the same story over and over again, just in a different way. Not like, what is that lotto ticket movie? Like, no more of those. Like, you said you weren't trying to name names, but I'm just gonna say it. Like, I don't need like 4 more versions of that.
Yeah. I look back kind of fondly.
You didn't enjoy a lottery ticket?
I like
it. I mean, for what it is, but like we know the story.
Like, we know the story. It's the same thing. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I agree.
And some others I won't name, but other than that, I kind of want to. It's just kind of like selfish or biased, but I want more South Florida or like Miami stories to be told, other than just like party and drugs or whatever. Even though that's like what it was built on, but stuff other than that, because you can do so much with it. There's Homestead where there's farmland, there's the Everglades, there's the beach, there's Miami and Broward are totally different. Just like there's so much you can do here that, and also part of it is that South Florida is kind of new in general in terms of history with the rest of like the country.
Yeah, for sure.
But there's a lot you have everything down here.
So much diversity,
and so much that hasn't been like that you don't have anywhere else.
Right.
Yeah.
You don't have that mix of everything.
Yeah. Any movie that touches Miami always either has parties or drugs.
Yeah, parties, drugs, and bikinis.
Like,
Yeah. Which
Shout out
that's not
David
bad.
Makes Man. That was a good series based down here. But
Yeah, I think the best series right now that really kind of drives it home and what I want to see more of. I love Insecure with Issa Rae, but I think Donald Glover and Atlanta just takes it to another level. I would love to see I'd like to see Atlanta, but the South Florida version.
Yeah,
of that.
that'd be cool
That's
for
essentially what I would love to see. He is just like I cannot wait for this upcoming season. I just know he's going to
He's
bring
gonna kill it.
Yeah, and that's the type of like when I say sophisticated comedy, just like smarter, like you know what I mean. Like I feel like I was saying before, like the audience, including the black audience, is more mature now. We don't have to have 20, I'm just gonna say it. We don't have to have 20 Madea movies, okay? We don't have to have 20, you know what I'm saying, Kevin Hart, Tiffany Haddish movies. There are different ways to tell our stories, even in comedy. And so it's like we need to start exploring that some more. So yeah, man, like I said, like we don't have I'd love to have a movie like The Hangover, but black people, like we got it kind of with Girls Trip, we got it kind of with the Think Like a Man movies, but it's like just a little bit more like taking ourselves seriously, take the story more seriously. So it's like even when it comes like straight down, I can tell you from the cinematography what kind of movie it's gonna be. You know what I'm saying? Like super colorful, zany, like background music.
If it's
you know
lit
what I'm
like
saying?
if it's lit like a sitcom almost.
Yeah, it's lit like a sitcom. You know what I'm saying? The story's very basic. You know what's gonna happen, but like just kind of let's take it to the next level, man. Like we can handle it. Like we don't need to be spoon fed story points and
like you said, we've seen that success with like the Jordan Peele films
absolutely
and stuff that's been
it's
similar.
coming. I think it's going to be as more people, more creators like us are continue to push and progress. We'll see a lot more of it.
Fact. And this is something that I've mentioned. It's completely different angle than what we've been talking about. AJ and I have discussed this. I would really enjoy if Adam Sandler, Jim Carrey, and Will Ferrell made a movie together.
Yeah, that would be great. That would be amazing. Yeah.
There's no way it's not funny.
No, it's going to be hilarious. Like
So,
they probably wouldn't even have to do anything.
Have you guys seen Ginny in Georgia?
No.
It's actually it's kind of probably skews more teen.
Yeah,
but
that's the Netflix
it's still
joint, right?
yeah, it's still good, and like there's some parts like all right, like you're embellishing, but I like it's about a mixed girl, white mom, black dad, and the dad's not. It seems like he's not in the picture, but he's just a traveling. You find out that he's just a traveling artist and like photographer and writer, not that he's just a deadbeat that doesn't talk to his daughter or whatever. It's just like left his daughter type deal.
Yeah, that's
which is cool too.
Yeah,
like it's a different
that series has been shaking the table a little bit. It's made some headlines.
Yeah.
It's been I'm really interested. I want to dive into that one. There's been a lot of buzz.
They
about that.
they touch on a lot of like themes that should be spoken about, but they kind of do it like lightly and kind of like just not gloss over it, but like they address it indirectly. So that I feel like they could do better there, but it wouldn't. But I still like the series for what it is, and I don't think every series needs to be like, hey, in your face, we know these things are issues. Like we're trying to bring a bunch of attention to it. Like I don't think everything needs to be that. So I appreciated it for sure.
I love nuance. That's really what it comes down to. Like you don't have to spell it out for me. You know what I mean? And I love just we're growing in so many ways when it comes to storytelling and diversity. I think going off the teen, kind of direction. I love HBO's Euphoria with Zendaya and that
it kind of
really
has
cool cast.
Jane Georgia kind of has
It has that kind of vibe.
Feel, that kind of feel,
yeah. I love that too. And I think it's like that's a show where I'm like, and I think they're introducing some more characters because I was saying to myself watching that show, I was like, this girl needs some black friends. She needs some melanin in this situation. She can't keep doing this. We need some family, and some friends more in the situation. So yeah, like I said, man, it's like we're gonna continue to see a lot of this in our content. So I'm excited, man. It's like this is a really, really cool time.
Yeah, I think that wraps it. Let's see. Anyone have anything else?
Nah, I just want you to.
You want me to do the outro?
Yeah, let's get an outro for real.
Do your
like, let's get
perfected. Do your perfected outro.
Perfect.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
I'm gonna go home and work on this. In the mirror. I'm gonna just look at myself in the mirror and be like, all right, this is what we watching. This is what we. This has been episode 2 of What We Watching.
Breathe.
Like, subscribe, do all that. Comment. Let us know what you guys want us to watch or want us to review or give our take on. We listen. We want interaction.
Yeah,
Yep.
absolutely.
And join us on the next one. Find out what we watching.
Peace.